Hello, welcome to a brand new and special NCAA Tournament edition of College Basketball Talk with yours truly, Tyler Ferrero. And today, I will be trying to predict the upcoming NCAA Tournament games, which starts off in the Sweet 16 and will be leading into the Elite 8, Final Four, and hopefully the NCAA Championship game. And to start things off, the first game I'll be talking about is the Florida Gators against the UCLA Bruins in the Sweet 16. And I feel like defense, physicality, and experience will lead to a Gator victory. And Patrick Young, Willie Get, Casey Prather, and Scotty Wilbekin, the four senior starters for the Florida Gators, will really be a key part in their win. And next, I'll be talking about the first-seeded Virginia Cavaliers facing off against the fourth-seeded Michigan State Spartans. And even though Michigan State's a fourth seed, I still feel like they will win this game, and they seem to be heavy favorites, as many people are predicting them to win it all this year. So I expect them to win and continue on to the Elite Eight. And the next game in the South region is when two double-digit seeds in the Dayton Flyers and the Stanford Cardinal meet up in the Sweet 16. And I believe the 10th seeded Stanford Cardinal will be too big and too powerful for the Dayton Flyers, so I believe they will be moving on to the Elite Eight and facing the Florida Gators. And next on the Sweet 16 list is in the East region, where the third-seeded Iowa State Cyclones will be facing off against the seventh-seeded Connecticut Huskies. And in this game, I think I'll have to go with the hometown Iowa State Cyclones, even though they lost their big man George Niang. It will be a tough win for them, but I still think they can pull it out against a tough UConn team led by senior point guard Shabazz Napier. And the next game I'll be talking about is when the first-seeded Arizona Wildcats will be going up against the fourth-seeded San Diego State Aztecs. And in this game, I just feel Arizona's talent and size is too much for the Aztecs to handle, where I feel Arizona will win handily. In the next game in the West region is when the second-seeded Wisconsin Badgers face off against the surprise sixth-seeded Baylor Bears. And I think Baylor will continue their run, beating the Wisconsin Badgers, proving to be too big, too athletic for Wisconsin. And I believe they will be moving on to the Elite Eight. And now I'll be talking about the biggest Sweet 16 game of the week, where two in-state rivals will be facing off in the Louisville Cardinals and the Kentucky Wildcats. And both teams are coming into this game hot, especially Kentucky, after they just upset the undefeated and first-seeded Wichita State Shockers last week. But I believe Louisville's experience will be too much for Kentucky, as they will move on to the Elite Eight. And the final Sweet 16 game I'll be talking about is when the second-seeded Michigan Wolverines will face off against the 11th-ranked Tennessee Volunteers. And probably one of the toughest decisions I've made in this tournament, I'll be going with the second-seeded Michigan Wolverines. It'll be a tough win for them, as they'll be going up against one of the toughest and most physical front lines in America in the Tennessee Volunteers. But I still feel Michigan's too talented to lose this game, with star shooting guard Nick Stauskas leading the way. So they'll be facing off against a Louisville Cardinal in the Elite Eight. And on to the Elite Eight, where I predict the Florida Gators and Stanford Cardinal will face off against each other. And in this game, I predict Florida will win and move on to the Final Four, mainly because of their suffocating defense. And the second Elite Eight game is in the East region, where Michigan State will face off against the Iowa State Cyclones. And the depleted Iowa State Cyclones run, I feel, will end here, where Michigan State will move on to the Final Four. In the Elite Eight game in the West region will be the Arizona Wildcats and the Baylor Bears, where I feel it'll be a close game, but Arizona's just too talented and too big to lose this game. So I believe they will be moving on to the Final Four as well. And for the final Elite Eight game will be the Louisville Cardinals going up against the Michigan Wolverines. And this game will be close with two high-powered offenses, but the difference in this game is Louisville's defense. where they are much better than Michigan. So I believe Louisville will move on to the Final Four, face off against the Arizona Wildcats. And now we got our two Final Four matchups, where the Florida Gators will be going up against the 4th seeded Michigan State Spartans, and the number 1 seed Arizona Wildcats will be going up against the 4th seeded Louisville Cardinals. And the first Final Four game I'll be talking about is when the number 1 overall seed Florida Gators meet up with the 4th seeded Michigan State Spartans. And in this game, if these two teams meet up, I believe it will be one of the best games of the year. It could be low scoring with the two talented and powerful defenses, but I believe the Florida Gators will be too much for Michigan State. And that's why they'll be moving on to the national championship game in a close, hard-fought win against Michigan State. And if I predict correctly, the number 1 seed in the West and the Arizona Wildcats will be going up against the number 4 seed in the Midwest and the Louisville Cardinals. And if predicted correctly, this will also be a very good game. It'll be a tough game for both teams, but I believe Arizona's size and defense will be too much for Louisville. And those are two key reasons why I think Arizona will be moving on to the national championship game and going against the Gators on Monday, April 7th. So in my national championship game, I have the number 1 overall seed in the Florida Gators clashing with the number 1 seed in the West in the Arizona Wildcats. And this will be a tough, hard-fought, and low-scoring game as two of the top defenses in the country face off. But I believe the Gators' experience after losing in 3 straight Elite Eights the past 3 seasons will help lead to a victory. And their 4 seniors in their starting lineup will lead the way. So there you have it. I have the Florida Gators beating the Arizona Wildcats in the national championship game, capping off a great college basketball season. I'm Tyler Farrell, and I'd like to thank you for watching. I hope you tune in next time.